On the afternoon of August 28, 2003, police got a call from a witness, reporting a bank had just been robbed by a man claiming to be wearing a bomb. Police officers set to work, searching the area, and soon, they found 46-year-old Brian Wells in distress. He agreed to being the culprit and told detectives the same story, claiming he had a bomb around his neck and was a victim himself. Detectives, seeing this, tried to get a hang of things, but before anything could be done, the bomb detonated, and all they had left was a body. When investigations started, the discovery would shock the entire city and the nation at large. This is the story of the infamous pizza bomber, Brian Wells. The city of Erie, Pennsylvania, is regarded as a relatively safe place to live. Often called the Gem City, it is the fifth largest city in Pennsylvania and the largest city in the northwestern part of the state. It was here in this city that 46-year-old Brian Douglas Wells lived. He was a lovely and hard-working man, with no previous criminal records. He was law-abiding to the core and loved his simple life. He worked at Mamma Mia's Pizzeria, where he had worked for 10 years as a pizza delivery guy. The afternoon of August 28, 2003 was just like any day for Brian and his colleagues at the pizzeria. At around 1:08 p.m., a call came in from a payphone at a nearby gas station. The person at the other end of the call wasn't really audible, and the owner of the pizzeria herself could barely hear them. Brian collected the phone from her and spoke to the person on the other end. They ordered 2 large pizzas. And the place of delivery was a little strange. It was the location of the transmitting tower of a TV station, a few miles from the pizzeria, but they felt there was no cause for alarm. After all, they could just be workers who got hungry and needed a pizza fix, and so, Brian headed out with the 2 boxes of pizza. When Brian Wells got to the address, he was accosted by 4 people. There, he was forced to wear a homemade bomb around his neck with instructions to do as they said, or the bomb would be detonated. Scared for his life, he tried to put up a fight, but a gun was fired and that made him compliant. He was given a sophisticated homemade shotgun, which had the appearance of an unusually shaped cane, and instructed to claim that 3 black men had forced the bomb on him and were holding him as a hostage. He was then sent out on the quest. He was to go to a nearby PNC bank and acquire a sum of $250,000. After robbing the bank, he was to go on a scavenger hunt, collecting keys that would delay detonation and eventually defuse the bomb. The hunt was strictly timed, and any time wasting would be detrimental. With this in mind, Brian set out to do their dirty work. He was instructed to quietly enter the PNC Bank at Summit Town Center on Peach Street and give the teller an affixed note, demanding $250,000, and to use his shotgun to threaten anyone who did not cooperate or attempted to flee. Upon entering the bank around 2:30 p.m., he slid the note to a teller. The note stated the bomb would explode in 15 minutes and that the full amount must be handed over within that time. The teller was unable to access the vault that quickly and gave Wells a bag containing $8,702, with which he exited the bank. At 2:38 p.m., police got the first call regarding the incident from a witness at the bank. It was reported that a man just left the bank with a bomb or something wrapped around his neck. He was seen on surveillance camera leaving the bank. Around 15 minutes after Brian left the bank, he had completed the first task of the treasure hunt and was proceeding with the second task when police saw him standing outside his automobile and promptly arrested him, handcuffed him, and left him sitting on the ground in the parking lot. He immediately played along with the script, claiming 3 unnamed black people had placed a bomb around his neck, provided him with the shotgun, and told him they would kill him unless he committed the robbery and completed several other tasks. Police immediately focused on clearing the immediate area before calling the bomb squad at 3:04 p.m. This was about 10 minutes after Brian Wells was arrested. At 3:18 p.m., the bomb detonated, instantly killing Brian Wells. Chaos erupted with police rushing towards him to see if he could be saved, but unfortunately, he was gone. His death only left authorities with more questions than answers. Who were the men who put him up to this? Why was he chosen? Was he a part of the plan? With all these, and many more questions plaguing the minds of authorities, they immediately started an investigation. Thankfully, the questions weren't left unanswered for long. Investigations revealed 4 conspirators: Marjorie Diehl Armstrong, Kenneth Barnes, William Rothstein, and Floyd Stockton Jr. During interrogation, confessions were made and it was brought to light that Marjorie Diehl Armstrong was the mastermind behind this sick plot. She believed her father was wasting away her potential inheritance and needed someone to kill him. She approached her very good friend, Kenneth Barnes, with the idea, and Kenneth agreed to commit the murder if he'd be paid an amount of $250,000. Not knowing where to get such an amount from, the 4 people decided to rob a bank. But they weren't gonna do it themselves, and so they needed a victim. Someone to take the fall, and decided Brian Wells was their guy. But that wasn't all. Authorities also believed Brian Wells was a part of the plan from the beginning. Brian Wells, although being a law-abiding citizen, had his own vices. He was known to be a womanizer who spent his free time with lots of women, one of them being Jessica Hoopsick. Jessica admitted to being approached by Kenneth Barnes to recommend someone who would be willing to take the fall. According to authorities, Brian agreed and had been meeting up with the 4 people for weeks before the actual incident. Even meeting with them the day before the incident for rehearsals. They believed the said bomb was supposed to be a fake one, but when Brian got there and it was put on him, he realized it was a real one instead. Scared for his life, he tried backing out, and that was when the gun was fired. His family and friends refuses to believe this version of the story because according to them, Brian was just not that guy.
How did this happen? Brian did not do this. This is so far out of character. This is against everything that he believed in.
I don't know any of these people. That's why they had to lure him to the tower.
Also, Jessica claimed Brian had no advance knowledge of the plot. On September 3, 2008, Kenneth Barnes pleaded guilty to conspiring to rob a bank and to aiding and abetting. On December 3 that year, he was sentenced to 45 years in prison for his role in the crime. His sentence was later reduced to 22.5 years after he testified against Marjorie Diehl Armstrong. He suffered from diabetes and died in prison on June 20, 2019. In October 2010, Marjorie Diehl Armstrong took the stand to testify on her own behalf as part of her defense. On November 1, 2010, she was convicted of armed bank robbery, conspiracy to commit armed bank robbery, and of using a destructive device in a crime. On February 28, 2011, she was sentenced to life in prison. She died from breast cancer in prison on April 4, 2017. William Rothstein, who was the putative creator of the collar bomb, died before he could be tried. He was admitted to the Mill Creek Community Hospital on July 23, 2004, having previously been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and died a few days later on July 30, 2004. Floyd Stockton Jr., who was a fugitive, was granted immunity for his testimony against Marjorie. He died of acute respiratory failure on August 10, 2022. It is believed that authorities were a little lenient because they believed it was a robbery gone wrong, and not murder. But, even if it was just a robbery gone wrong, no one deserves to die like that. Some people believe his final moments showed he was guilty. According to them, he was too calm for someone who had been kidnapped and forced to wear a bomb. But, I believe his final moments simply showed he had given up hope that he would make it out alive. He had come to terms with the fact that he was going to die and simply waited for the time to run out. May his soul continue to rest in peace. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. And also, turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new video.